world champion. In my gym, there's a lot of world champions. A lot of world champions. I'm gonna be a true world champion by beating a guy that everybody's fearful of. Tank, throws hard, knockout artist. Gonna see what I do though.
I am the best fighter in my division right now. I will say that. And when I'm done conquering this division, I'll conquer the next one, then the next one, and then my accomplishment.
That right there, that is not a fighter talking for the cameras. That is not promotional noise. That is a man standing inside a gym, sweat on his face, gloves on his hands, making the coldest declaration in boxing. I will be a true world champion by beating a guy everybody is fearful of. And then one sentence later, with zero hesitation, I am the best fighter in my division right now. I will say that. No qualifier, no I believe or I think. I am, present tense, full stop. And then he named the target. Now the roles are reversed. I'm coming at him. He's gonna eat a lot of punches. Punches I don't think he would take, and he doesn't even have the heart. That is Ryan Garcia talking about Gervonta Davis in a training documentary, before the lights, before the press conference, before anyone was asking him to perform. And the reason that matters, the reason the room goes quiet every single time Garcia speaks about this fight, is because those words were not scripted for an audience. They came out of a man alone in a gym, doing the work, with something burning inside him that no suspension, no contest ruling, no PED controversy, and no social media circus has ever been able to put out. The Garcia-Davis rivalry is the most unfinished piece of business in the welterweight and lightweight landscape right now. And while the world has been watching Garcia become WBC welterweight champion, watching Tank draw with Lamont Roach and go silent on the rematch call, Garcia has been in the gym every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, building the version of himself that he believes wins the second fight and makes the whole story make sense. This video is that story, from the beginning. Before we get to the rivalry, before we get to the call-out, the silence, the declaration, you have to understand the foundation. Because the Ryan Garcia who is calling out Gervonta Davis in 2026 is not the same man that walked into T-Mobile Arena in April 2023. The transformation happened in gyms like the one in that footage, and the people who built it with him describe it with a clarity that goes beyond motivational language.
Hey, Joe. Me and you was a better grade.
Joe Frazier.
Come on, we're almost there. He called me up when all this stuff was going down. He called me on Monday and said, let's get work Tuesday and Thursday. Let's get back on it.
Wait for the world to restart, and I'm right back at it.
We don't play no games. Southpaw. Southpaw.
Look at that, southpaw.
Yeah.
I can still feel that rhythm, southpaw.
We work both sides. And when some kid has a mindset like his, man, I'm gonna keep feeding him. Good, bring it back. Same thing.
With the more going on, the more you gotta stay focused, right? You gotta stay focused no matter whatever, how many people know you, how many people don't know you. Because then, when you get too famous or too many people are watching you, if you remember how focused you were when nobody was watching you.
That trainer is describing something very specific, not just the physical work, the mental architecture underneath it. He called me Monday, let's get work Tuesday and Thursday. Wait for the world to restart, right back at it. A man who, in the middle of one of the most publicly chaotic periods of his career, picked up the phone on a Monday and asked to be back in the gym by Tuesday. That is not a man who has given up on the sport. That is a man using the sport the way it was always meant to be used, as the one constant, the one anchor, the one place where the noise outside does not get to follow you in. And then the trainer's second point, the one that lands harder the more you think about it. The more going on, the more you've got to stay focused. When you get too famous, if you remember how focused you were when nobody was watching, you should have no problem. That is not generic advice. That is a specific diagnosis of what went wrong in Garcia's career between 2022 and 2024, and a specific prescription for how to correct it. The fame arrived, the focus drifted, the chaos followed, And the way back was exactly what it had always been. The gym, Tuesday, Thursday, work. That is the foundation the Tank callout is built on. Not the social media persona, not the live streams. The gym. 6 in the morning, back at it when the world was still restarting. Now listen to how Garcia describes what is driving him. Not what he says publicly for promotion, but what comes out when he is in the middle of a training camp and someone asks him about Gervonta Davis specifically.
To speak for themselves.
Of course, Tanky. We call him Tanky.
I'm coming at him. It's now the roles are reversed. I'm coming at him.
He's gonna eat a lot of punches coming, which I don't think he will take. But even if he does, he doesn't have the heart. He don't even have the heart. He almost got bomb rushed by Gamboa on one leg. So imagine me and I have him a little tired.
Or you want to be disrespectful? Watch this. I'm even more disrespectful. Anything you could do, I could do better. You put a meme out about me with that picture, put up a better one. Because he literally copies Floyd, everything he does, his mannerism. He tries to say that he's pretty boy Floyd. I'll keep fighting him until I knock him out. But I only want to knock people out.
You need to train to kill me. You ain't gonna kill me looking over 60 pounds of your weight class. How you gonna kill me? If anything,
I'm coming at him. The roles are reversed. Every word of that clip is significant. Garcia is not defending himself from the first loss anymore. He is not explaining. He is not contextualizing. He is attacking. He almost got bomb rushed by Gamboa on one leg. Imagine me. Yordenis Gamboa, a fighter who entered their 2020 fight with a partially torn Achilles tendon, compromised mobility, reduced power, fighting through injury, and still had Gervonta Davis in trouble before Davis eventually stopped him. Garcia is not saying he is better than Gamboa. He is saying a man on one leg almost stopped Tank. What do you think a fully healthy, fully focused, fully rebuilt Ryan Garcia does to him? And then the line that strips away all promotional language and gets to the bare argument. He doesn't have the heart. That is not trash talk. That is a specific technical and psychological assessment from a fighter who has been studying the same opponent for years. Garcia watched Tank against Roach. He watched the draw. He watched Tank respond to adversity, not with aggression, but with justification. I thought I won. We didn't get a loss. Garcia saw what everyone with eyes saw, a fighter whose response to a difficult test was to argue the result rather than impose himself. And Garcia, standing in that gym, filed it away as a data point. The man who comes forward without stopping, who changes levels without thinking, who sets up body shots with head threats and head shots with body threats, that man saw Tank Davis hold the line against a non-champion and call it a win. And he is coming at him. But here is what the pre-fight documentary footage reveals about Garcia's preparation that the post-fight press conference version never could. Because the press conference version of Garcia is always the version performing for an audience. The training camp version, the one the camera caught in the gym at 3:09 of that footage, is something different.
It's right here what we do. Quick. Butt down. Bam, go, come on, fast. Hit it, come on. Come on.
I will be a true world champion. In my gym, there's a lot of world champions. A lot of world champions. I'm going to be a true world champion by beating a guy that everybody's...
I will be a true world champion by beating a guy everybody is fearful of. And then he specifically calls Tank Pinky, a nickname born from the documented fear that Tank inspires in potential opponents who find excuses not to sign the contract. Garcia is naming the dynamic out loud. Everybody is fearful of Tank. Everybody finds a reason to avoid him. And Garcia is saying, not me, not anymore. The roles are reversed. I am coming for you, and I am coming for you specifically because everyone else is afraid to. That is not the energy of a man trying to rebuild credibility through promotional volume. That is the energy of a man who identified the exact fight that would define his legacy. The rematch he lost on questionable physical terms against a man who has not looked the same since, and decided That fight is the one his entire career points toward. The trainer confirmed it in that same footage. She called me up, said my baby's special. Can he work with him? Garcia's mother going directly to the trainer, asking him to work with her son because she could see what the sport was beginning to miss, that the talent had never left, the focus had left, and the focus was coming back. Now, put Garcia's training camp declaration alongside what Gervonta Davis was saying at roughly the same moment in his career, because the contrast between these two men's energy is the most revealing thing in this entire rivalry.
Your thoughts on like Rolly like defending you and shit,
You know,
saying
Rolly low-key has a good heart. He just like he loves to sell fights and he doesn't care how he does it. So I don't knock him on that, but he does have a good heart. I mean, I've talked to him many times and he's went through some struggles and I've been there and be like, yo, what's up? And yeah, he's cool, but he should have took that fight with me.
I mean, obviously, I want to go back and watch it, but clearly in there, man, I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the motherfucking bills. I've been telling y'all that. And I'm just glad I got to show it, honestly. I'm glad I got to show it. I appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate True Boxing Media. Some guys that didn't count me out. So that's just how I feel, man. I think I won, and I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to dance again.
Thank y'all for waiting and things like that. It was a good night for the sport. Didn't get what the decision I want, but we didn't get a loss either. So I felt like I won it. The last couple rounds. So it's cool. Lamont is a great fighter.
That is Gervonta Davis in a post-fight interview after drawing with Lamont Roach in March 2025, a fighter who had never held a major world title, a man Tank Davis should have handled with authority inside 6 rounds. And Davis is standing there saying, I thought I won. I did enough. We didn't get a loss here, so I felt like I won it. Defensive, justifying, reaching for validation from a result that gave him none. Hopefully I can get that rematch, because I know what I can do in that fight. Tank, the man who finished Gamboa, who finished Garcia, who once looked like the most dangerous lightweight on the planet, is now asking for a rematch with Lamont Roach, and not a single word about Ryan Garcia. Not a response to the call-out, not an acknowledgement of the rematch demand. Nothing. The silence is deafening. And Garcia, standing in that gym with his trainer, calling out Davis by name, breaking down his chin and his heart and his tendency to copy Floyd Mayweather's mannerisms without the substance underneath, is the only one in this rivalry applying pressure. Which brings us to the post-Fortuna interview, the one that made the room go quiet, the one where Garcia delivered the call-out that is now the most referenced line in their entire rivalry. I'm going to record all the negotiations so he don't make no headlines saying I'm ducking. If he wants it, let's get it. I'm gonna fight Tank and whoop his ass. That is the public version of what Garcia had been saying in private in the gym for months. The training camp footage confirmed the conviction was real. The post-fight interview gave it a microphone, and the room went quiet, because everybody standing there understood that this was not a young fighter chasing clout. This was a man who had been building toward this specific statement for a specific amount of time and was ready to have the fight. Bernard Hopkins understood it immediately. There are wins and there are statements. You just made a statement. The executioner, a man who built a Hall of Fame career on reading fighters correctly, and his verdict on what Garcia did to Fortuna on the same night Garcia delivered the Tank call-out was not a compliment, it was a categorization. Garcia did not just win, he demonstrated something. He showed the craft, the setups, the body-to-head sequencing, the patience. He showed the version of himself that the training camp footage had been building toward, and Hopkins named it correctly, statement. The full picture of Garcia's call-out only lands when you see all 3 pieces together. The training camp footage showing the conviction being built, 6 in the morning, Tuesday, Thursday, back at it. The post-fight declaration showing the conviction going public. Cold, calm, specific. And Tank's post-Roach draw interview showing the man on the other side of the call-out. Defensive, justifying a draw. Silent on the rematch demand. Garcia made one more declaration in that training camp footage that deserves its own moment, because it goes beyond the Tank rivalry and into something larger.
Fearful of Tank, those hard knockout artists. Gonna see what I do though.
I am the best fighter in my division right now. I will say that. And when I'm done conquering this division, I'll conquer the next one, then the next one, and then my accomplishment.
I'm done conquering this division, I'll conquer the next one, and then my accomplishments will speak for themselves. That is a man thinking in decades, not in fights, not in contracts or promotional cycles, in legacy, in the full arc of a career. And the reason that matters in the context of the Tank rivalry is that it tells you Garcia does not need the Davis rematch to feel complete. He wants it, he is coming for it, but he is not dependent on it. He is building something larger, and the Davis fight, the rematch he has publicly demanded on even terms, at full weight, without the catch-weight clause before the first punch, is one chapter in that larger story, not the whole book. Tank, by contrast, is in the middle of legal proceedings, is listed as champion in recess by the WBA, has not responded to Garcia's rematch demand, is asking for a Roach rematch, and has gone quiet at the exact moment the biggest rivalry of his career is being reopened by the man on the other side. Garcia is not waiting. He is training, he is calling out, he is winning world titles at welterweight and building the resume that makes every future opponent harder to duck. And the rematch demand is sitting on Gervonta Davis's desk, unanswered, unanswerable, growing heavier with every month that passes. The room went quiet because people felt the shift. And when this fight finally gets made, when both men are in the same building with no catch-weight and no rehydration clause before the first punch, it will be the most anticipated rematch in the lightweight welterweight era. Garcia is ready. He has been ready since Tuesday, since Thursday, since the moment he picked up the phone and called his trainer and said, "Let's get back to work." Tank has not said a word. If you want to know exactly how this rematch plays out, technically, and why the weight change makes Garcia a completely different problem for Davis in Fight 2, that breakdown is the next video. Watch it now. Drop a comment. Does Ryan Garcia make a statement in the rematch, or does Gervonta Davis prove the first finish was no accident?